Does my hair look okay? Ready? Is it recording?
Yeah, but I'm just hoping that I'm in the right place.
Oh, it's a chair?
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Hi. Welcome to today's video. Basically, it's not exactly the video we wanted to be doing. We're going to talk to you today about our experience with coronavirus. We just wanted to give you a first-hand account of what it's been like, things that we'd have probably done differently, questions that you've got to ask us. Yeah, without further ado, we're going to talk to you today about our experience with coronavirus, which we contracted about 2 weeks ago, and we're still in quarantine.
We're going crazy.
Going a bit mad, yeah.
Probably going to be our usual silly selves in this video, but everything we do say is coming from experience, and do take it seriously, as silly as we may be.
You've got to be silly when you're in quarantine because we're going stir crazy.
We have to laugh or we'd cry.
So firstly, we're going to talk about our experience. We might as well start from the beginning and how the onset of symptoms came about. We both experienced slightly different symptoms at the start. Mine was pretty quick and aggressive, yeah, violent. Chloe got sick first, so you tell me about your experience.
When I got sick, it wasn't anything like that jumped out at me. So it was the day after Zermatt race. I came down with like what effectively were like cold flu symptoms. So I didn't really think anything of it, especially after racing in Zermatt, where it was cold, it was snowing when I was racing. The day after I just thought, well, it's just caught up with me after the adrenaline's worn off. I was pretty naive in thinking it wasn't anything like COVID or anything, it just the weather had caught up with me.
It's super easy as well, like being away racing, it's super easy, and we're all guilty of it for sure. There's not one person that's come away racing, I'd imagine, that's like stayed 100% alert, kept themselves, like just got their head down, come here to do the racing and get home, because realistically
nobody's seen each other in such a long time, so obviously you do start mingling.
And that brings up like a whole host of other issues, which I'm sure at some point we might cover, our views on whether we should have been racing this year or whatnot. Obviously from our perspective, we're sat here in quarantine with COVID.
Having done 2 stages.
Having done 2 stages in a season, yeah, you can imagine probably what our views are. Chloe's onset was quite like hard to pick out that it's going to be something serious and something that we need to take with like caution, but like now from sitting here with it, we would advise anyone to act on any kind of symptom, even if you don't think it's not a list of symptoms that's on the NHS website or whatever, act on any unwell feeling like with caution, because when you start thinking about it, it can spread unbelievably fast. So my onset of symptoms came pretty quickly. I just woke up one morning about 6 in the morning and it felt like my body was going to shut down. I won't say the full details, but basically everything was happening.
Pretty scary.
Yeah, like I shouted Chloe to come and help me, and I didn't look in a very good state. I was on the bathroom floor, looking pretty worse for wear, feeling like I was going to be sick, completely white, and like my eyes were like rolling around. Like in a very, very extreme version of your blood sugars have gone low, but you also feel sick at the same time. Yeah, everything pretty happened all at once. It was horrible, and
that's not really a known symptom as such.
No, I mean, I must admit, I thought it might have been my time of the month. But again, super like naive to just try and brush it off as that. It's really, really difficult. I think that's what we want to stress the most in this video. It's like really difficult to act right there and then. It's so easy when you're talking about it backwards. So basically, mine came on really quick and really horrible. It lasted about 3 hours of being quite violently ill, and then I literally spent 4 days in bed, sleeping around the clock. Like I've never ever in my life experienced wanting to sleep so. Like one day I got out of bed to go to the toilet twice, and I didn't have the energy to make myself food, I didn't have the energy to do anything, and that's totally unlike me, and that's when I realised that something definitely wasn't right.
I think that's like the point to get across, is at any point don't feel yourself. That's a symptom. That's
a symptom in itself for sure, like monitoring other people that have like spoken openly about what it's like to have coronavirus, and a lot of people just say like they didn't feel themselves for it, they felt like super tired, and that is definitely like you would have like a couple of days not feeling yourself and a couple of days feeling just under par.
Yeah.
Whereas mine was quite obviously like I'm sick. I did about 4 days in bed and then felt slightly better, but I still didn't really want to go out of the house or do anything, and then when my taste went, I was like, no, I need to I need to get a test because that's a very
An
clear...
obvious thing.
Yeah, like, I don't lose my taste, like, I've never ever lost my taste or smell, but like, we were holding like curry powder up to my nose, and we were holding like all the spices we had up to my nose.
You had
and
to have a blindfold on and
I couldn't
guess the smell.
honestly, it didn't feel like anything was even under my nose, and that is so weird, such a weird feeling.
Yeah. I think like to take from this video is the fact that the obvious warning signs that are online and in the news are not necessarily going to be what your symptoms are. I think that's kind of why we brushed over it, like we didn't have a fever, didn't have a sore throat and a dry cough, which them 3 symptoms are what the news portray as the most obvious symptoms.
But they might not come straight away.
The hardest part is to pull the plug and go and get a test, especially when we're away travelling and stuff. I feel like a lot of people find it harder to go and get a test in this circumstance to when if we were just at home.
Well, for starters, a test over here is €87, and when it's coming out of your own pocket, for some people that's like, oh, I don't want to get a test, why would I bother? But in our position, like, so this is our alarm to do exercise every once an hour, so just gonna have to crack on with some exercise. We're back. Sorry about that, but basically that keeps us sane in quarantine. So I was talking about the test. It's €87 over here, which is
a lot of money.
Yeah, quite a lot of money when you potentially might not have it, and if it was free, everyone would have just gone and got one the second they felt slightly ill. So there's a lot of feelings about like getting a test. Like, it is kind of scary. Like, we had 4 days or 5 days in apprehension of like whether we had it or not, and I was pretty certain I had it, but
yeah,
it's nerve-wracking.
Stressful time, and like I said before about having to pull the plug and be like, no, we get a test. I feel like a lot of people fear getting a test in case it comes back positive for personal reasons like pride, being embarrassed, being stuck in a hotel for 2 weeks.
Like not wanting the fun to stop or something, especially if you're away racing. If you know going and getting a test might pull you out of racing, it's a high chance that you're not going to want to go and get a test. And that ignorance is what people cannot be having at the moment with coronavirus, because that's why it's such a world pandemic and it's such a problem.
I'll hold my hands up and say when Bex suggested the idea of getting a test, I was a bit like, well, we've got 2 races left of the season. I'm guilty of it, like.
Yeah, you were pretty upset, weren't you? It was definitely more forceful from my point of view.
But you kind of have to take a step back and think there's a bigger picture. Bigger things than bike racing happening in
this
the world.
year, yeah. I suppose there's a lot of people not in that mindset. I mean, I actually thought about my grandma, who's pretty weak, pretty old, and I thought, like, God, if she had what I had, that would, like, kill her. When you think about that, like, as soon as my taste went and I knew, right, that's it, no, I probably have coronavirus, I wanted to keep myself away from as many people as possible. Like, I felt guilty if anyone caught it from me, because it's not fair on people with weaker immune systems. We're just so lucky that symptoms-wise, which we'll get on to talk about, we haven't been that bad. It's just been a bit weird. Weird symptoms have been like,
sorry, tea break. Wet your throat.
Wow, I'm a bit croaky. So obvious symptoms were when we got sick, but the thing that's been weird for me is like tiredness. Like, I've literally just not wanted to do anything. Like, we're in finale and I've not wanted to ride my bike because I physically know I can't. Like, my body is busy right now.
We've had dizziness the last couple
A lot of
days.
dizziness. Like, even though we'd say we're pretty symptom free as such, like, I'd definitely say we're still struggling with the effects of having had the coronavirus. Like, standing up has been pretty horrible. Like, we jump up way too fast and we get regret, like, whoa.
But it's like a delayed reaction. Like, I'm sure everyone has the feeling of when they jump up too quick, you get a dizzy head.
Just
It's like that, but it's like 5 seconds later than
and like
you normally get it.
double the length of normal head rushes, so it's a little bit weird.
But whether that's something to do with the actual virus or that's the fact that we've been in these 4 walls for 2 weeks, I'm not sure.
Yeah, all this information we're giving you is just our experience, and don't take it like as, oh my god, if I've got a head rush, I've got coronavirus. Just take it as like, this is what we've experienced.
But I'd stress a lot, if you at all feel like you could have a symptom or you don't feel 100%, just go and get a test. It's not worth it for your health, other people's well-being as well. Just try and think about other people when you have them thoughts. Right,
I put on my Instagram a very beautiful photo of us. I asked whether we're going to make a video about our COVID experience, what do you want to know? So I'm going to go through some of them responses now.
Sorry.
She's on the scroll because she's bored. First of all, it's a question from Bex Barhammer. How long have we been in quarantine?
Too long.
We've been in quarantine for nearly 2 weeks.
For the region where we are in Italy, the rule is that we have to return 2 negative tests before we're allowed to come out of quarantine, which is very different to the UK. In the UK, once you have a positive test, you just have to quarantine for 2 days. 2 days?
I wish it was 2 days. Have you lost your sense of taste yet? I did. I lost my taste for about a week.
Smell.
And smell, yeah. Taste and smell for a week, and honestly,
I thought you still not got it back now.
No, I can smell the scented toilet roll we've got. I can start to smell things now, and I'm starting to taste some things. I noticed the avocado last night, but it's rubbish.
Whereas I have had nothing like that.
Yeah. Are you a little bit relieved now you know you've had it and it wasn't really that bad and you can move on? I'm not relieved to have had it, because if I could have avoided it before they would do a vaccine, that would have been fantastic. At the same time, I'm relieved that it didn't affect us both, like, with really serious symptoms, like we weren't hospitalised. It's definitely made me probably more anxious for the people that aren't healthy amongst us, because I'm not thinking of it from a selfish point of view.
And it's also pretty gutting, like, because I mean, as daft as it sounds, I feel like we've been pretty sensible with it, but obviously not sensible enough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't know how long we're going to have to be living with this virus until we have a vaccine. So on the other hand,
I'm relieved that we've got it out of the way in a sense, yeah, because then we don't have to be as fearful about health.
But there's also some research in being able to catch it multiple times, so
we don't know, yeah.
We don't know, but I mean, regardless, we're going to be as careful as we were. Hopefully more careful.
Were you scared when you found out you had it?
I cried.
She cried. She cried a lot. And called Daddy.
To actually get the phone call and say, yeah, you're positive, it was still a bit taken back by it, and then like thinking, oh, well, we're not going to be able to race, and we've only done one race, which was 2 stages. And
someone asked, do you think it's a load of controlling beep? No. I don't think it's a load of controlling beep. All these people that are like, oh, it's the Chinese government trying to control the world, or like, it's actually just a myth. Like, it's not a myth. We definitely had a virus that is definitely very different from the flu, has some similarities, but it's very different. Like, I still have this weird thing in my legs that I didn't mention actually, where they feel like they're on a boat. I'll just be sat there and suddenly they start like going like this, but they're not moving.
I think that's just you going crazy.
It could be you going so crazy. Are you worried about the long-lasting effects of the virus, such as fatigue? Potentially facing long-lasting effects, which I'm pretty worried about for sure. My boss straight away said, forget when I called to explain what's happened, and I was like, oh, don't worry, I could probably race next weekend in finale if we get a negative test, and he was like, forget it, because your health is more important, and the virus has its like long-lasting side effects on the cardiovascular system, and I mean, I need my heart pretty good with my job, so I need it to be ticking.
Well, you need your heart
full stop. I need it to be ticking pretty good, and I don't want to lose any of my capacity. So yeah, we've got loads more research to do into the long-lasting effects, but
the next step for us is to get home, get checked out, hopefully be able to have a heart scan, feel 100% that we're able to go back to training, like not be in the dark. So I'm for sure going to try and get my heart checked out before returning back to training.
How are you doing, and what's your thoughts on not being able to race? What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are? I mean, yeah, it's pretty gutting to not be able to race, especially when we're here. And also, I've never raced in finale. I'm just putting that. I've been here 3 times and never raced. I guess we covered there's bigger things happening than bike racing at the moment. And I think a lot of people feel that way, a lot of the racers feel that way, but won't express it. I'm
gutted to race in one respect because this is one of my favourite places to race. I've always done pretty good in finale. I know that I came off, like when we were in lockdown, it was really suitable for me in terms of my training, and I actually felt really super happy on my bike and pretty fast. But then when we came away racing, everything shifted, like my whole, like all the work I put in, and I was feeling really fit and strong on the bike, just suddenly kind of felt, I don't know, it didn't feel right, because I just felt like I shouldn't be here racing, and that
I think it's
it was like an unsettling feeling, like there's a lot of moods and People aren't themselves at the moment. That's another thing to mention. Like in the pits, around other teams, like different riders, everyone's got their own level of like what's okay. People are on edge. I haven't really enjoyed being
It's
away.
added another stress to races.
Yeah, and that stress just made it the end. I wasn't too worried about missing out on the races. How long did you have symptoms for? Yours have been on and off for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say like we're symptom free, but at the same time, kind of. I don't know if it's just being in this apartment which makes you feel crazy, but probably like I had pretty violent symptoms for like 4 or 5 days, and then it's been like another week after that. How are you keeping your spirits up?
Consuming a lot of tea.
I set up my own little personal pretend DJ decks the other day. That was pretty fun. But I haven't actually had the energy to do much.
Just enjoyed watching Netflix.
Netflix.
We've watched a lot of Shameless. But apart from that, we haven't really done. We've actually really enjoyed when few people have come and brought us gelato and pizza.
Oh yeah,
that's been the highlight of the day.
That's
What do you do?
You can't read. What are you doing to stay strong? I'll tell you what we're doing. Every day,
We're doing 5 squats.
we're doing 5 squats, 5 sit-ups, 5 press-ups, 5 lunges on each leg, 5 Superman holds, and basically we do that little mini routine on the hour. Every hour I've got an alarm set, and it's it's just something to break the day up. Thoughts on risk/reward as a racer? I understand why you went, but any regrets? Really good question. Yeah, regrets, definitely. It is my job and it's what I love to do, and I suppose everyone is learning about this virus on the go, like the whole world is. And yeah, there's definitely regrets. I probably wished I'd have just stayed at home. I'm pretty certain if we were sat at home because we decided not to come away, we'd have been regretting it. We'd have been regretting that, so yeah. How much pizza can you scoff in 2 weeks? We've actually only had one pizza that was delivered by our lovely Noga. She came on a little like town bike with
basket on the front.
She had the 2 pizzas balanced on a basket with a sat nav to direct to where to go. I thought that was great. But yeah, she delivered us a pizza, which was lovely, and then my teammates came with a massive tub of ice cream, gelato, that I think they're trying to make us fat. 4 scoops each.
But we're looking forward to being allowed out again.
Calamari is the first thing I'm going for.
Yeah, we're just going to eat ourselves silly for a couple of days and then drive home.
Is COVID engineered by reptilian aliens from the 4th dimension?
Maybe.
Shut up.
What's breathing like? Don't strain yourself, sister. Just 3. What are you looking at?
I'm rocking.